Good day, Heavens F4 Games. Sorry for the shaky cam, I am recording on the phone. We're here with Michael, and Michael is bringing us a Shiranui deck profile. Now, this is as pure as can get, is that right?
As pure as you can get.
As pure as you can get. So let's see what Shiranui, as pure as you can get, looks like with the brand new support. Show us what you've got then, Michael.
Alright, guys. So, first up, going into the Shiranuis on the main deck. Of course, playing Triple Solitaire.
Of course.
Sort of the main Shiranui from the deck is the one that gets you into your uni zombie, the one that gets your play started, and just an all-round really great card. Next up, one Spirit Master. I'm finding one to be just right in the deck. It's easily accessible, and it's just one of those cards you can also recycle, so one's just about right for me. And of the new Shiranuis, I'm playing one copy of Squire and one copy of Shade. I'm really liking these two. Squire sets up a lot of plays just on its own. When you normal summon it, you can summon a Spectral Sword Shiranui straight from the deck, so that immediately gives you access to Shade, and that's already a link to providing it to zombie or a level 7 Synchro. So it's a really nice combo, and Shade's got a really amazing recycling ability to be able to summon from the Banished Zone. So both are really good cards. If I could, I'd be playing more copies of Squire, but just due to space, I'm only playing one of each. And it's been working pretty well so far. So those are the Shiranui I'm playing in the main deck. Like I said, trying to make it as pure as I can. Next up, in the monster lineup, I'm playing two copies of Doom King. I feel like this card, I'm trying to make this deck as competitive as possible, and this just seems like a necessary card to include. It gives zombies an amazing first turn play, being able to set up Vampire Sucker, Zombie World, and Doom King. And that gives you a couple of disruptions on the opponent's turn just from this card alone, and that's in addition to what else you have. So, really great card to include. Next up, Triple Uni Zombie. Without a doubt the best tuner this deck has to offer, being able to set up plays on its own and being able to sort of take you out of a tight spot and load up your graveyard. Amazing card. And what zombie deck would be complete without Triple Mizuki?
Mizuki.
So this card just makes your graveyard your second hand, just allows you to extend plays and gives your deck such a high ceiling. Very useful for extending your plays. Then two copies of Glow Up Bloom. I was trying out three originally, but I found that I ended up drawing like maybe two copies quite a few times, surprisingly. So in the end, I decided to cut it down to two. Two, I think, is all you really need. Just gets your play started, and really great for giving you quick access to your Doom King and setting you up for your first turn negates. Next up, two copies of Banshee. Just a quick access to your field spell, Zombie World, and also to protect it if it comes up, but it's mostly just to bring out the field spell, because we don't really want to play things like terraforming in here, things that can be
Ash, Drolled.
Yeah. And this is good because it places it straight into activates it straight from the deck, so very good for getting around Ash like that. One copy of Fraulein. Fraulein's great for just helping you win those battles and giving you some additional protection. I guess you can call it hand trap in that respect, but it's been working pretty well. I might try out a second one, but for now, one's been doing quite well. It's a shame that it's not searchable in this deck at the moment, but it's great when you do happen to draw it. Next, two Gozukis. Again, just additional ways to fuel up your grave, get those Mizukis in the grave and those Glow Up Blooms, etc. So, great card. And its second effect does come up as well, being able to allow you to summon from the hand and extend your plays. Very good. And the last of the monsters is, of course, three copies of Ash Blossom. Again, like I said earlier, I do want to make this deck as competitive as possible, and this being a zombie as well as a very powerful hand trap, I feel like it's a very necessary card in the deck. And it's, of course, getting the common reprint, so there's really no excuse for not having access to this card right now. So that's it for the monster lineup. Moving on to spells. Three copies of Zombie World. Again, just to disrupt the opponent while also allowing you to summon your Doom King. Very good card. Actually, its ability to make everything zombies actually comes up quite a few times with your other cards. I'll go into those in a bit, but it really just allows you to disrupt the opponent's plays while at the same time just giving you access to additional plays that you can do. So, great card. That's why we play three. I'm playing Triple Call by the Grave. As I mentioned in some of my other recent deck profiles, I feel that this card just needs to be mained at 3 as much as possible in this format. There is just so much disruption going on, so many hand traps, so many grave effects, and this just allows you to safeguard your combos, especially if you're summoning a Solitaire, triggering it to go into Uni Zombie and they Ash it. It really sets you back, and this just ensures that your plays connect.
Yep.
Next up, 2 copies of Instant Fusion. Again, this is just to give you additional ways to swarm the board. There's also I'm also playing another monster in my extra deck, which allows me to out a few problem cards, problem monsters the opponent might put on the board, in the off chance I happen to go second. But the idea behind this is just to bring out additional monsters. 1 copy of Burial. I can absolutely play more copies of this. It's not limited, just in case you were wondering. But again, it's mainly due to space. I'm only got room to play the 1 copy, but it's been working pretty well. Just allows you to really extend your plays. You can banish all your Mizuki, swarm the board, and then put all of them back.
Yeah, the fact that Mizuki's not once per turn, it's like, you know what I mean, 6 Mizukis in 1 game.
Exactly. It just really allows you to make more plays, and just a great card. And some more one-offs. Monster Reborn, goes without saying. Foolish Burial. 1 for 1, just to give you quicker access to your Glow Up Bloom. And also allows you to pitch a few monsters you might have in your hand. Like say if you've got Mizuki in your hand, you can discard it for 1 for 1. You not only summon the Bloom, but you put Mizuki where you want him in the grave. So, great. And the last spell that I'm playing is Super Polymerization. Once I go into the extra deck, the meaning of this card will become clear.
Yeah, lovely little touch when Zombie World's in play.
Yeah,
very
absolutely. Good. But I'll get more on that later. And then for traps, 2 copies of Swallow Slash. So the idea behind this card is quite similar to Icarus Attack. The idea is you tribute a zombie, you destroy 2 cards, then you can banish a Shiranui from the deck. And if you're happening to banish a Spirit Master, then you're getting to destroy an additional card on the field, an additional face-up card. So a very good combo. If you're doing that, if you're popping an extra card, that's a +1. That's great for disrupting your opponent, giving you an extra boundary of protection. You can also banish the newly released Squire, which would allow you to then draw a card and discard a card. So great for digging for your hand traps, maybe. And just outing the opponent's board. Great for when you're happening to go second, or if you want to further safeguard your plays. And the last card in the deck is 3 copies of Rivalry of the Warlords. Now,
everyone loves a floodgate.
Again, as I mentioned, I'm trying to make this deck as competitive as possible, and I find that this card just makes this deck very, very powerful, especially when combined with Zombie World. If you have this out and then you've set up your Doom King, then you've activated this on the opponent's turn after they've committed at least 1 monster to the board, then they're locked out. Unless they're a zombie player, of course, they can't then commit further monsters to the board because they now control a zombie. They can't play any other monsters. So it's a really nice lock there. Great for disrupting the opponent. And obviously this doesn't affect you in the slightest. So, as you've noticed, every monster I'm playing in the main deck is a zombie.
Yep.
Just to ensure that this doesn't affect me in the slightest. So, that's the main deck. That's 42 cards.
Obviously, Zombie World has great synergy against the current meta as well, because it stops Thunder Dragons because they can't tribute into 1-card Colossuses. And I'm pretty sure it stops the Altergeist as well. So Multi-Faker can't do Silquist.
So what it would do is
under Rivalry, sorry.
It makes the Secret Village of the Spellcasters invalid, since there are no Spellcasters out. It would mean that the Thunder Dragon fusions cannot protect themselves from the grave, since everything on the grave becomes zombies. Just so many applications. Disrupts Monarchs because they can't tribute summon, apart from Erebus, I guess.
Yeah, cool.
Apart from Erebus, yeah, there is
Let's see Monarchs in 2019. I know they got Stormforth back, but that's more...
there's just so many ways to ruin the opponent's plays. So, like I said, this main deck is 42 cards. Moving on to the extra deck. I'm playing 1 Repro on the Nightmare. This is my main go-to Instant Fusion target, and the idea is to put an extra zombie on board. Instant Fusion would then count as a fusion summon, so if I link up with this and then banish the Mizuki, summon it back, then I gain access to its amazing effects, which means I can attack the opponent directly, make them discard a card, and...
Goat format plays!
This is straight out of my Goat format deck into this deck, so very nice cards. Great to be playing it in something other than Goat for once. The fusion I'm playing is Millennium Eyes. I was going back and forth between this and Thousand Eyes Restrict as to what to put in for my second Instant Fusion target. And I was really unsure because I really wanted a go-to monster to be able to disrupt the opponent with, maybe to ensure that a play connects, or to maybe absorb one of their boss monsters, perhaps. But in the end, I decided to go with Millennium Eyes because it has the added effect to be able to stop hand traps. The opponent discards like an Ash. While I've got this on the field, I can use its effect, equip the Ash from the graveyard, and negate its effect. So, very good. And the other reason I decided to go into this was, say the opponent has a boss monster out. I would go into activate Instant Fusion, I'd summon the Millennium Eyes. Say they've got I don't know, in Sub-Dragon Infinity or something, and they would go to negate one of my plays, I can then use the Millennium Eyes and just equip it and ensure that play is stopped.
More protected.
Yeah, and mine just continues to go forward. So it's another reason I decided to go for this card. So very good. And as I mentioned from the Super Polymerization from earlier, I'm playing Dragon Necro, Nether Soul, and the way this is made is with 2 zombies, and of course, if you've got a zombie world out, all of your opponent's monsters become zombies. So you can literally just activate Super Polymerization,
take both
pitch
of
a
their
card,
monsters,
use both of them, summon this guy. 3,000 attack points, and his effect does come up a few times. Just being able to produce tokens and swarm the board is very nice. Moving on to the Synchros now. For the 7s, I'm playing 1 Black Rose. Goes without saying.
Nuke the board, reset the game state.
Always good to have. 1 Red Eye Zombie. I find that this card is it's really coming up quite a few times. It's a zombie, so even if you've summoned Squire and gone into Shade, you can still gain access to it. And its effect is just ridiculous. The amount of attack points this card accumulates if you've got Zombie World out, because it counts from both graveyards, it's just insane. And its effect really comes up as well. So great monster there. And I'm also playing the new Squire Saga. And this is the promo from the new set. And I really love this card because you can go into this, and even if you're under the restriction of only zombies, like say you've got Rivalry Hour or whatever, and then what you can do is you can use its own effect, banish itself, and then you can destroy a monster, a spell or trap, and then all your remaining monsters gain 300 attack points permanently. So that's brilliant. And the other thing great about it is that it doesn't target. So all of those monsters and things that say this cannot be targeted, this bypasses them. So great card. And of course it's even better if you've got another Synchro monster in the graveyard that's fire and zombie. So great card. I think this card's quite underrated. So
yeah, in fact it's a common and it's a nice little ultra print as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
For the 8 stars, playing 1 Shogun Saga. It's probably the go-to Shiranui Synchro monster, able to get a ridiculous amount of attack points by banishing from the grave, especially if you're banishing something like a Doom King. He absorbs the attack points for the turn, and if you're banishing perhaps one of your smaller Shiranuis, you then gain their banish effects. So great card, especially if you want to just swing for a great deal of damage or run over something. So great. 1 Beals. Since Uni-Zombies are dark, you're able to go into this quite a bit. And Bloom as well, but it's mostly going to be Uni-Zombie. And the idea behind this is just to wall up. It's a great card. This is my go-to card against True Draco as well, since they really struggle to out this card. Maybe with Stormforth they may have outs to it, but aside from that, that's probably their only out to it.
Nice.
Then, of course, 1 Omega. Got to recycle those Mizukis. And the last Synchro I'm playing is newly released Savage Dragon.
Savage Dragon!
So this card's great. There's quite a few times where I go into Sucker as my first turn play. It gets run over or whatever. And the next turn I just Synchro into this, equip the Sucker that was just destroyed, and then that's 2 Boral counters onto this. And that's 2 negates right off the bat. And that can be any card the opponent plays, doesn't matter if it's in the grave or a hand trap or on the field, it just stops them out cold. And that's 3,000 attack points to pair with that. And the fact that it's generic is amazing. So, great card. Now for the links. It's 2 copies of Vampire Sucker. Your go-to link monster without a doubt. Able to just get a draw when your Doom King revives itself during the opponent's turn. And yeah.
Just makes life yeah. Self-explanatory in a vampire deck,
pretty
unfortunately.
Much. Just reminds you of the days of Card of Safe Return. Really.
Oh mate, come back to 1 on that one. Draw for days.
1 Summon Sorceress, just to extend your plays and gain you access to additional monsters to Synchro Summon from the deck.
Yep.
I'm also playing the new Skill Saga, and I got to admit this one's a bit more situational, but its effect does come up a few times. If you've got, say, Skill Saga and Shogun Saga out, then both of them are immune to all forms of destruction, and it's quite a nice lock as well. And just really good card overall.
It's all relatively cheap, the Shiranui stuff as well.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
all the
That's the other great thing about it. The deck is very budget. Very good.
Apart from the expensive cards that are in there, like Omega.
Okay, those aren't necessarily
the core cards of Shiranui, yeah.
I say that going into this next card. But,
Definitely budget. No.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, just to lead to more of those OTKs, and it's always good to have a boss monster in the extra deck.
Hands down.
All right.
Cool. So that is it for the Shiranui deck profile. Like Michael said, he's tried to keep it as pure as he possibly can. It's definitely a lot of fun to play, and it's always nice to get a variant of zombies running around. So for now, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and as always, guys, happy dueling.